Okay, I had to clean some stuff up. So, what I'm trying to say is that that doesn't matter. Um, they all got killed in the New Testament, and that's nothing more to see here. And but what I feel like is the point is, um, Satan was the most cunning beast of the field. There's cattle, there's fowl, there's fish, then there's beasts of the field. He had a seed, okay? So either he got put on that ark via serpent, most cunning of the, because all the animals went in, the seven of their kind of the clean, and after that, all the unclean. So either he was in a serpent set on the ark, his seed, or there's just a seed because that's just how it is, you know? It's just how it is. Um, and Satan's going to get back in the world. So I guess, but there's some other cool things in. Oh, but what I was going to show is I was watching A Righteous Perspective, and I'll have it here for you, I hope. I'm sharing the video in my post, and he said something that reminded me because he said something like it's all started with the civil rights movement, and I agree with that. The way he describes it, I see it now. Even when Martin Luther King was dying on his deathbed, he literally said, "I think I led my people into a burning building," and because I'll tell you why. I'll prove it. Any black people, you watch this, and you'll see. You're gonna see. Watch his video, and then um Google this. I said old pictures because when he was saying this and how the black people were doing well, the black people were having businesses and doing this and that until the civil rights movement, where he made them victims, like the government needs to pay you and owe you. They were not having children out of wedlock. Do you know that only 3% of all black couples stay married? That was a statistic, like, oh wow, like back in 2011, I remember hearing that. Out of all black married people, only 3% stay married and have children in wedlock. Okay, so but when he was explaining this about Martin Luther King, I didn't realize that. But what I do remember, probably saw it on Black History Month years ago, and I've seen it more than once. But, and you can look it up. All I did was I Googled old pictures of Black society. They were educated, they had their colleges, they had their own hospitals, and they, because they were segregated. See, a black woman could have got raped by a white cop. I'm sorry, but that happened. Yes, sick people back then, just like slave owners. They were good white slave owners and bad slave owners. There's good black people and bad black people that came from, if they were abused, maybe they went on to be abused when they were free. Anyway, I'm not going to get off on a tangent. So all I'm saying is when the black people got sick, they couldn't go to the white hospitals. So guess what? That means there were black doctors. They couldn't go to the white man's courthouses. No, they had black lawyers. I remember this on this history stuff I'd see. They had wealthy, rich black people, and they were their own society. They and it was narrated by like an old black lady who was telling her memories, and like it was showing all kinds of pictures of like them in their sweet little clothes and glasses and all studious in their little clubs and stuff. And it showed pictures of their hospitals, their nice cars, their nice suits. You guys, they were up there, and they all had money. And education, and this guy is nailing everything. It's like they promoted all this rap music. Then in like 2010, I noticed, because I live near UTA over there, and all these white boys were playing rap music. And that's the mentality. So the white people started liking the rap. Black people, probably a few years ago, started liking the white people music, and that's all good and fine. But the rap music, it's starting to, it created this generation of white people that are like, yeah, we're white racist, and we really owe the black people, because they're using all these N words. And I remember hearing some black activist once said, we fought we fought very hard to get that N word out of the vocabulary, and you people are singing it in your songs, and you're calling each other, the black people are calling each other niggers. So I just remember hearing this one black guy talking about that. He's like, I don't like that. He's like, we fought to get that, the white man stopped saying that, and then now you guys are saying it. Anyway, so if you want to look up these pictures, like, so this says, the history and the old photographs of thriving, self-sufficient black communities are incredibly powerful testimonies to resilience and excellence during the era of segregation, often referred to as the Jim Crow era. So whenever they want to talk about Jim Crow, you just say them were the good old days. It was after Martin Luther King ruined everything for y'all, because then y'all became dependent when you were independent. It says African Americans were systematically excluded from white-owned businesses, public institutions, and hospitals. In response, they built and strictly supported their own bustling ecosystems and universities, just like the Jews all these years have had to do this. They have their own ambulance services and everything, even in the United States. Okay, medical centers, banks, and vibrant social scenes. Okay, so I Googled it. You probably won't be able to see this, but look, see, I'm not going to read all this, but when you Google that, then down at the bottom here, it's going to give you choices. See? And there might be videos you can find, documentaries. But look, it has all this information. So, look at this. They were so wealthy. Okay? Where the short answer to where is that history is that while the physical buildings may have changed or been lost over time due to urban renewal, yeah, democratic urban renewal, they got rid of all that for y'all. And you traded in, like this guy is saying. I've heard this black guy before, the one he's sharing. And I even made a short, or I mean, I didn't make a short. There was a short of him. And I posted it on my post, and I looked for it, and I can't find it. It was probably so long ago, but he talks so fast, and he's so packs a powerful punch, and like fast speaking, you know, he put those rappers to shame. And he just rattled it all off one day. I put it in, it was in a short, and I posted it, something like, oh, Black Lives Matter and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they want to, you know, something, pillage, steal, and something. And he pegged all that garbage, lies, Black Lives Matter. They are just trying to enslave the black people some more. And, you know, white people were racist back then. That's back then. But it was the civil rights movement that perpetuated it. And then, oh, if you don't know the history about welfare, you need to learn about that, because welfare was implemented to destroy the black families. Yeah, that's why There's only 3% that stay married and their families stay intact because they implemented this welfare system so that when the black man couldn't work because it was still too racist yet, they needed some welfare. So they went and got welfare. But welfare told them, they said, we're not going to give you welfare if your husband is at home. We'll only give welfare to single black mothers. So that encouraged divorce. It encouraged lying and separating. Then when they would separate and not live in the same home, the man ended up cheating. Then it just became ghetto. So ghetto, you guys, because the black men just went, they would be like, I love you, I'll give you some kids, but I mean, I can't help support them. It just perpetuated so much nasty, y'all. So bad. So bad. I mean, that's just a brief, I don't know the strict foundations of it, but that's the gist of the welfare system from what I understand, what it did to the black people. I'm not saying necessarily that it was created for the black people, but they made sure that it ruined the black family. That's how I was told. And this is probably coming from the white side. And the white people are flat out saying it. Whoever's educating about it, this was years ago, I heard this. So they were basically saying it destroyed the black family. Welfare did. And they knew it. They knew it. You guys, this is, you got to get okay, nobody's racist. Everything's outgrown. Generations have grown. I mean, those racist bigots are dead now. And their children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren that are now here, we don't know about that stuff. We don't care about that stuff because we're not racist bigots. But the Democrats, who are the Confederates who fought in the Civil War against freeing slaves, they were fighting us Republicans who wanted the black people free. That's why Kennedy got shot, JFK, because he was trying to set more freedoms for the black people. So when you guys want to go Democrat, you're basically going Confederate, who were fighting us to set you free because they did not want to set you free. And then they just smacked on a label that says Democrats. And they're like, well, we'll enslave them. We're going to keep them down. If we can't enslave them anymore or segregate them anymore, we're going to destroy them. It's just a seed of Satan, y'all. That is all it is. This is the face of Satan we're looking at. So, okay, well, I was going to go over some things in a video that I found in Genesis. And it's not like a real big deal, but it's pretty interesting. And I also I shared a post of that video, like Baal, Amalek, and Ishtar. And Satan is real. That seed has stayed around somehow because God prophesied it in Genesis that her heel will get, his heel, Jesus' heel will get bruised on the head of Satan, serpent, Satan's head. Okay? So if that was said in the Garden of Eden, that Satan had to stick around after the flood because Mary was going to give birth to Jesus. And Satan's got to be around all the way to the end of Book of Revelation. And so who cares about the Nephilim? That's like, you keep talking about them. I heard this one lady on a near-death experience. I think I posted her video too. And she's like, this talk of this Nephilim, you're conjuring them up. And then I saw that video on Baal, Molech, and Ishtar. And the Jews, the scribes, that when they were that one certain god, Molech, it was MLK. They added some stuff to it because they didn't want to say the word of that god, because it was so evil. They named it Shame because they didn't want to say its name because they might conjure it up. When you keep talking about fallen angels, you're conjuring them up. Not like you literally are, but how was it like you're like glorifying them? That'd be like me glorifying Satan all day long, saying, oh, Satan this, he's got all kinds of power, he's done this, he's done that. No, I'm not going to talk about Satan, thank you very much. I'm going to talk about what God can do, what God does. And these people that are so interested in these Nephilim and, ooh, are they going to come back as UFOs? You know, who cares? You know, the UFOs, I've already said, those are demons, yeah. And they have these little Martian bodies, it's proven. And it's proven that they surgically can scalpel and gut cattle and humans and take them up with them and make a visit and stuff. What they're doing is they're harvesting things to try to get a body, and they can't quite get it good yet. So they look like big head, big eyes, little bodies, because they're trying to create the body like they used to could do. Not they used to could do. Those are the offspring of the fallen angel and the human woman. So they're half-breeds, okay? They're like a concoction of two things. So they're that's why Jesus sent them into the pigs, because they have no body. They can only inhabit a body. And if they can't inhabit, there's plenty of them around. So if they're not even if they inhabited every single person on the earth, there's still more of them that want a body, and some want to cohabitate with other demons that want to share in the body. So I think these aliens, that's all they are. They're those disembodied spirits. They have figured out a way, because they can go in and out of atmospheres, and they've figured out a way to be able to petri dish Frankenstein some stuff. And even if that isn't the case, I don't care. I don't really care what goes on in alien land. Okay, there's plenty enough going on here to fight the good fight and to worship God. So because those are disembodied spirits, if they happen to get some pieces together and made a little body, still they have to be able to come down to Earth in their little spaceship, mutilate some cows, and abduct some humans. Well, that takes some physical fingers to be pushing and to be doing a spacecraft. And okay, like say an angel of God can manifest as a human being. I'm sure a lot of experience, people have had experience with that. They can look just like a human being. But a fallen angel, maybe it can actually, yeah, because people have seen demons. So, but that's different. That's a fallen angel, because not all of them mated with humans. Only 4 of them, and they're chained. The rest of them, they didn't leave their natural estate and mate with the women. So, yeah, I'm sure they manifest as well. But like I said, I mean, they usually, well, I don't know. I don't care. Why do we even care about this? The whole point is there's a seed of Satan. It says it right there in Genesis. And somehow God said it right there that he needs that seed in the future is going to be crushed by Jesus. And that's all that matters. Whether he was on the ark or he floated, over the flood the whole time. I don't know. God made sure he's going to be here till the end, because God prophesied it in Genesis that Jesus is going to crush, which Jesus already has. When he died, crucified, went to hell for 3 days and rose again and walked the earth for 40 days and then ascended back in. So he already did crush the head of Satan, but he's still around like a roaring lion, seeking who he can devour. And I'm not going to be devourable because Jesus already said, be of good cheer, I've overcome the world. So I'm not going to be focusing on stupid Nephilim. It's over. It's over. It's done. I don't care who they are in the New Testament or the Old Testament after the flood numbers. They're all dead now because the Jews killed them all. So, but yeah, if I look some of these up, this history, I will, I'll share it on my post. And then maybe I'll come back and do some of this stuff in Genesis I found. I think it's kind of cool. It just proves, you guys, it so proves that this was all a setup and God knew Adam and Eve would fall. It's just, it's so obvious. I mean, for one thing, look in there. It says earth, 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 earth. And then it'll say, put him in the garden, took him out, brought her in the garden, in the garden, in the garden. God created a whole earth with green, cattle, everything, birds, fish, beasts of the field. But Adam and Eve were in this little garden. He knew they weren't going to stay there forever. He had a whole earth prepared for them when they were about to fall. And then they were going to go into that earth. Okay? And another thing, took, those fallen angels took wives. Took wives. That means against their will, whether they were married, they were wives of another man. And they took those wives. They took for themselves women against their will. And back then we know how women were. Women didn't have a say, right? Well, and then God took Enoch. God took Elijah. God took Adam. You go find it over there in Genesis 2 or 1. God, it was either after the rib or before the rib. God took Adam. Then he put him back. So he basically made Adam out of the dust in the earth, on the ground, in the ground. Then he took Adam, put him in the garden. And he did, and then he says about Eve, I brought her to Adam. He brought the animals to Adam to name. He brought them from the earth and from the y'all, it's just every time I read that, it freaks me out that I see something different. I put it down for like 30 minutes to go do something. I come back to go pick up where I left off, and I found something else. I'm like, what? I've been reading this over and over, like, not like for days or hours or anything, but I'm like, I have read this off and on for like months now, and I just read that 30 minutes ago, and I didn't put that together. I mean, it's just really supernatural, you guys. It's so bizarre. You got to try it. And like Proverbs 2, like 2:4, I cry out. I lift my voice for wisdom. I cry out for knowledge. And, we could be doing that before we read the Bible. We say, I cry out for understanding. Whatever the two words are. I cry out. I lift my voice, like you're desperate to open my eyes, give me knowledge, give me wisdom, give me understanding. And that's in Proverbs 2. So it's like right in the beginning, like verse 1 or 2 or 3 or something. Okay, well, God bless you guys, and hopefully I'll get back on here, unless I don't for like 2 weeks, however long it's been. I just drop off and then. Okay, but anyway, I'll show you, I guess, some things I found in Genesis. Okay, bye. God bless you.